Well, my name is Jason JROCK Houston, and tonight we're speaking with bass player Vince Pacelli. And Vince, you're a bass player from a band Ozzmania, which is a Los Angeles-based Ozzy Osbourne tribute band based out here in LA. That's correct, is it not?
Oh, you bet.
And let me ask you, as far as Ozzmania goes, do you guys just do purely Ozzy Osbourne solo material, or do you play Sabbath material as well?
Yeah, we do a combination of both. Mainly Ozzy Osbourne. Obviously, we have the Zakk Wylde guy.
Yeah.
So a lot of Zakk stuff, but we do Black Sabbath also.
And let me ask you, Vince, you made the good point. Obviously, the singer has to look like a little bit like Ozzy Osbourne, and your guitar player, Mark Knapp, who I've interviewed before in the past, looks a little bit like Zak's. Do you feel that the pressure is more on those guys, the fact that they have to look the part as much as, get the tunes down?
Being in the tribute is a combination of both. You get a different response on what they like to see in a tribute band. And I've heard a lot of people say, you got to sound like them, and I've heard a lot of people say, you got to look like them. Well, thank God for those two guys. They look pretty much identical to their counterparts that they're portraying. So, the weight on their shoulders is pretty heavy, and they do the part great. I mean, it's an awesome band.
And on that note, do you enjoy being able to just kind of, at showtime, just jump up on stage, put your bass on, and just kind of be able to rock out as opposed to really having to look the part like the other two guys?
It's funny you say that because I'm actually a guitar player, so I come from a different band.
Okay.
I actually was in their shoes. I had the weight on my shoulder in a different tribute band, and coming over to the bass side, whole different atmosphere from what I'm used to. So getting up, picking up the bass, and walking up on stage, it's a relief, and in other words, it's a fun time. I'm having fun up there.
Yeah, as far as Ozzmania, I was curious, are you an original member, or did you join the band after they were already formed?
Ozzmania has been going for about a good 7 years now, 7+ years, so I'm the new guy. They call me the effing new guy, so yeah. I just joined in recent months here.
Yeah, and I was actually saying, like you said, that you're also, I don't know if you still are, but you were a guitar player in the Alice in Chains band Dirt. Are you still doing that?
Yes, I'm still, fronting the band there. I've had Dirt going since 1996, I think it is. It's a big place in my heart, being, the Jerry Cantrell of the band. So, definitely a lot of fun in that band, but, taking it, with Ozzmania to a different level, it just brings on new experience, and it's just a lot of fun.
And so how did you get the Ozzmania gig? I mean, I'm assuming the other guys in the band knew you from the Dirt band?
Right. Ozzmania and Dirt became pretty close friends. Me and Mark probably became really good friends out of all the members. And we were playing a bunch of shows with Ozzmania. And so we'd open up for Ozzmania at, a few venues here and there. And one day, Mark just came up to me and was like, what do you think about playing bass? And my first reaction was like, hell no. Get out of town, why are you even asking me? So, after we talked a little bit, went back to the drawing board, said, new challenge for me. I've never played bass before. I've been playing bass for 4 months. So, it was all a new thing to learn, a new respect for bass players, because, being a guitar player of my whole life, you kind of you don't think of the guitar, the bass style. Everybody thinks it's easy. Everybody thinks that, it's not guitar. It's a very easy thing. Actually, it's a lot harder than you think. The whole rhythm feel is different. The whole backbone with the drummer, you're working a different style up on that stage. So I'm enjoying it tremendously. Me working with Michael Clemens, our drummer in Ozzmania, we're clicking right from the get-go. So it's been a fun ride right now.
Yeah, and again, because you're talking to a guy that's not a musician here, and so I was going to ask you, because a lot of people are under the misconception that a guitar and bass look, pretty similar, except for a guitar has 6 strings, a bass has 4 strings, but it's really that much different of an instrument, huh?
It's from if you want to look at it like that way, okay, two less strings.
No.
It's kind of like a guitar, but the chord progressions you do on guitar a lot different than bass.
Yeah.
The strings are way thicker on bass.
Yeah.
Than they are on the guitar. But for flying around on the bass is not nowhere near as easy as flying around on the guitar. So it has its ups and downs on either side. I've heard horror stories about, if you're a bad guitar player, you're a good bass player.
Yeah.
That type of thing, and it's totally not like that. You have to have the feeling for the bass. I've been playing, like I said, I've been playing with Ozzmania for months now. We've done quite a few gigs in this couple of months that I've been in the band, and I've got the chance to see other great bass players. Wow, I mean, it's an eye-opener, the talent that bass players provide, it's pretty good.
And it seems like, you were really up for the challenge, but let me ask you, did the fact that you were already a guitar player while the two instruments are very different, did it make it a little easier for you to learn to play the bass as if you had never picked up an instrument before?
Yes, it did. It did on the aspect from my hand. I know where to put, I know where to put my hand on the fretboard.
Yeah.
As far as the picking goes, when I first picked up the bass, Mark, I was picking like a guitar player.
Okay.
So I was trying to not play the rhythms that I used to. I mean, when you play Crazy Train, I've been playing my whole life on guitar. And No More Tears, all that. I'm trying to play the guitar part on the bass, and it was pretty hysterical at some points.
Yeah.
So I had to retrain myself how to play like a bass player. So, but yes, to answer your question, it is similar.
Yeah.
It is a different feeling playing. You really have to have that backbone feeling and that timing and groove to fit in well with being a bass player.
Yeah, this might be a hard question to answer, but I was curious of all the bass players that Ozzy's played with over the years. Is there one that you really think stands out?
Well, I mean, you have to go with Daisley. I mean, he's the main writer.
Yeah.
Ozzy. He's the main backbone of the band. So for Ozzy, I'm going to say, Daisley. Obviously, I got Chains in my heart. So, Mike Hynez, the bass player of Alice in Chains, was in that band. So, of course, I like that he was in there. Ozzy's had great bass players in there. Trujillo, Metallica's current bass player, was in there. So, great people. But, yeah, if I was to pick one, it's got to be the main guy who wrote half the songs, which was Daisley. And
when you're performing with Ozzmania, I was curious, when you're performing these tunes, do you try to play the songs note for note the way the original bass player did, or do you kind of try to put your own spin on the tunes, too, your little flavor in there, if you will?
I guess if I was playing bass for many years and I had my own style, that I probably would try to, throw some hooks in there and stuff like that, but I'm new to the game here, and right now I have to learn note for note. I'm playing in an Ozzy tribute band. It wouldn't make any sense for me to try to do any type of flashy stuff. That takes out of context of what the actual music is supposed to sound like. So I'm trying to hit it note for note.
Okay, that's cool. And so let me ask you, you've been in Ozzmania for about 7 months now, you said. Do you feel you're getting more comfortable in your ability to play these songs, or would you say it's an ongoing learning experience? Are you constantly studying the tunes when you're not performing?
Yeah, being that again, it's new and all that, I'm still trying to stay fresh with the songs in my mind. I listen to the songs practically every day.
Yeah.
I'm always catching stuff that, hey, I should be doing this and playing it, a certain way. So, yeah, I think for a while I'm going to be concentrating nonstop on these songs because you could easily, if I don't play a gig for a month or something, I could easily forget. So, yeah, I got to keep on top of it.
See, that's a cool thing about, doing a tribute band, too. I would think it would allow you to keep your, your musical chops up. The fact that, you're always performing these tunes and you're doing a lot of gigging. And that note, I guess the next obvious question would be, some people might be curious, why play in a tribute band rather than a band where you'd write and record your own original music?
project. I had a couple of maybes, almost, things that came through and to get signed and all that stuff. But the tribute, when we went to the tribute, it was, money. Money was a big thing. The music that you love, I mean, me, it was Alice in Chains at the time. Once Dirt came out on the airwaves, it just hit me in a different way. So, I mean, I just love playing that music. I love playing that guitar. So it was a combination of both. And tributes were starting to come around and starting to get recognized and, bigger crowds. So it made sense to go in there. And then when Ozzmania takes it to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Into there, I mean, you're packing houses, and it's just the crowd and the Ozzy fans are so into him, and the way they respond to the tributes on stage, it's just great.
Yeah. I want you to understand, Vince, here, but I got all the respect in the world for these tribute bands, which is why I started doing these interviews with guys like you that play in the tribute bands, because every tribute I've ever seen has been really a positive experience, and I myself have seen all the hard work and dedication goes in to putting on a show like with what you guys do. On the flip side of that, there's a lot of people that have misconceptions, guys that play in tribute bands, they're fellow musicians, they couldn't, hack it doing their own original thing, but that's really not the case as we're discussing here. On that note, I'd like to ask, Ozzmania recently appeared on that Access TV show, The World's Greatest Tribute. Did you get to take part in that?
Yeah, I was the bass player for that show.
And what was that experience like for you? Because again, that's kind of the pinnacle that these tribute bands try to get to. One of the things, it's really a great show, great showcase for these bands. What do you remember about that night when you were on that stage?
A nervous wreck. I'll tell you something. You could be any musician, and I think I can respect, and I'll still probably hold the comments from Katie Darrell, who hosts the show. What she prepped us the week of, and what she tells you, and what she tries to get you calm and get you ready for the show. You really got to take it to heart. You really got to believe in it, because it is a different animal. That whole week, I've done 1,000 shows on stage.
Yeah.
I've played to 10,000 people to 5 people. So I'm thinking you're ready. No problem. It's just another show.
Yeah.
Okay, there's cameras on. It's going to be TV. But that day of the show was a nervous wreck. I mean, it hits you that day. And so, if things are not going right, starts getting into your brain, you got to try to clear it out and play your best. I mean, you're 30 million viewers, you got to get out. You're going to be noticed by everybody. There's going to be critiques. Not everybody loves Ozzy.
Yeah.
Everybody likes Ozzy. And, you can't please everybody. Everybody's got something to say. But as far as that show went, I was a nervous wreck. I got on stage, did our best. Finally got through it. The trembling goes down, and you just try to, do the best performance that you can. I loved it. I have a lot more respect for actors who play on TV and do their role. It's definitely a different animal when you hit this, hit a live TV show.
Yeah, because like you say, you have a lot more respect for these actors and stuff. But the thing is, a lot of times, actors when they're filming a movie, they can yell cut and they can reshoot the scene or whatever. But this was live national TV. As you're performing, the performance is going over live TV. And I actually I seen a couple of these shows when they were filming it down at the Roxy a couple of years ago. And the thing is, it was just a great experience, even to just be in the crowd. But when you were up on stage, I was curious, how aware were you? I mean, were you constantly aware of it? Okay, the red light's on and go. And from the time they started filming, did it seem like the show just went was over and done with like that?
Yeah, and that's one of the things that Katie put the signs like, listen, she's like, enjoy it now because it goes by quick. It does. You get up there and you have a set time. You got commercials. You have to get these songs in. You have to get them through. There's no dilly-dallying. There's no big long endings. It's not big the rock show that you do live. So yeah, it goes by quick. And if you definitely wish you could be there longer after it's all said and done, because it is such a great experience.
And so
riding the room
Yeah.
is so much different than what you see on TV. I mean, the people in the audience and the way they react there, it's insane. It's just a great feeling. You know, you see it on TV, you just don't capture that live.
And like, yeah.
And like you were saying, the atmosphere that's going on in there, it's really cool.
Yeah, and the cool thing about, what people fail to realize is the show, pretty much anybody interested. I mean, you can, when the tickets, when they announce who's going to be on the show for the season, you can just go online and download free tickets for each of the shows. It's kind of a first come first served basis, but you don't even have to pay to get in, and it's a free thing. And if you just have the time and to get down there and whatever, it's totally free. And I think that's another thing that just makes that TV show so cool.
Yeah, I mean, you're at the historical landmark, the whiskey. You're on Sunset Strip. You're in LA.
Yeah.
The music capital of the world, right? I mean, it's everything anybody can imagine to do, and on top of it, it's free. LA's obviously got, right there in their backyard, and they can walk in and see a great show. Best tribute bands in the world are playing on that thing every week.
Yeah.
4 seasons strong. I don't think it's going to die down. It's a rolling monster, and I can't wait to see who's going to come up next season. And I think it's just going to be it's just going to get there.
Yeah, and so let me ask you, following your appearance on the show, did you go down and catch any of other bands, kind of to cheer them on? I imagine you have many friends probably in some of these other tribute bands that have been on, huh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we went down for Pyromania, the Def Leppard tribute.
Yeah.
We were there for the Van Halen tribute, and we're going to be, I know my drummer, Mike Clemens, has been probably to every one of them. I don't think he's missed one yet.
Wow.
So I know we're all going to be there probably at the season finale, and we'll toast to the season 4 bands and kiss it on its way and wait for season 5 to come along and salute those.
Yeah, the other cool thing I like about the show, is it's not just a bunch of you don't just get a bunch of the same style of bands. I mean, they've had like an Elton John tribute, they've had Billy Joel, they've had Def Leppard, they've had Styx in Boston, and you guys, so it's a little bit of everything for anybody that's into anything,
I mean, just amazing talent that shows up on that stage week after week, and definitely different genres. And went from Elvis to Pearl Jam to Van Halen, Heart.
Yeah.
And now what? Just last week was
I think
what they were last week.
Boss Stick or something like that. Yeah.
Leonard Skinner. Sorry.
Yeah, Leonard Skinner.
So yeah, I mean, it's just a great amount of talent that comes across the United States.
Yeah, and let me ask you, after appearing on that show, did you start to get see a lot more people like contacting you and trying to get you to do gigs?
Oh yeah, I mean we're lining up 2015 pretty good right now. So it was a big help for any of those bands. It's definitely the best exposure you can get, hands down. So there's a lot of clubs looking. There's a lot of promoters checking it out, and they're snatching those people up.
Yeah, as far as like the songs you guys picked to play that night, I was curious. Did you guys have a meeting, like, and everybody kind of agree? Okay, this is a set we're going to do, or was it more a matter of okay, well, we got this limited amount of time, so we're going to play just these hits that everybody knows?
Remember, I'm the effing new guy, so they just said, this is what you're going to play. But no, the band got together and basically with Katie Darrell, and they went over the songs together. I think it was Mark and Michael both sat with Katie Darrell and figured out the set list that would be best for the TV show. And that's how it got all together.
Wow, and now Ozzmania, like you said, you guys do Black Sabbath and Ozzy. I was curious if you guys played anything off of a recent Black Sabbath album 13, or do you kind of just stick it to keep to the classic stuff?
Yeah, right now I think we just hit the greatest hit stuff. War Pigs, Iron Man, Paranoid, Children of the Grave, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, all those. Just the hits right now is what we're, because there's so many.
Yeah.
If you only play an hour, hour and a half, and you still got to do the Ozzy side of it, which is 3/4 of your set. So you only can throw in a few here and there.
Yeah, and so now I understand that you guys are going to be opening up for a show New Year's Eve at the Hollywood House of Blues, where you're opening up for my buddy Gar Boris and his band Appetite for Destruction.
Yes, we are ecstatic to play with Gar's group. Amazing talent with Gar. Happy to be part of his shows, hands down. Appetite for Destruction, great band. They just recently acquired Larry, the drummer, Ozzy, great guitar player.
Yeah.
We're ecstatic doing that show with them. We brought up some new boys in there. I think Master of Puppets is on that bill.
Yeah.
Stone
Temple Pilots tribute I seen.
A Stone Temple Pilot tribute, yep. And I think a Zombie tribute.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, Bill, right there. I'm going to do my best to go down there. I think it's a real great way to, ring in the new year. And that's another thing, like I was talking to Gar about. My experience, too, with a lot of these tribute bands is it seems to be like a real strong friendship, almost a fraternity-like relationship that all the tribute bands have, where they're not so much competing against one another, but they try to help each other out.
Yeah, definitely. Being new in Ozzmania, and it's a whole different people that I work with than I worked with when I was in Dirt. Definitely very friendly. Everybody has been very helpful. We get tips, especially we're going into the TV show.
Yeah.
All the alumni people, we've talked to a lot of them at previous shows, and they give us pointers and all that stuff. So, yeah, definitely a lot of help going around the tribute community in LA. Definitely.
And let me ask you, Vince, because again, like you bring up the name Laurie Carnwell, and he's got, of course, both the Motley Crue and an Alice Cooper tribute going, and both those bands are
busy.
Yeah, and both those bands, oddly enough, appeared on the Access TV show, which is a pretty cool thing for one guy has two different bands appear on the same show, different times. But is that something you'd ever try to get the Dirt band on?
Well, I don't want to blow any secrets, but of course, if Dirt was chosen to be on that would be, of course, be a great thing.
Yeah, and as far as Ozzmania, I was curious, how did you guys get the opportunity to appear on that show? Was it a matter of you reaching out to them and saying, hey, we'd like to appear on your show, or did they come to you guys?
Well, I mean, just like anybody else, we had to submit, our videos and portfolios and all that stuff. And basically, from what I heard of it, is that Mark Cuban and Ryan Seacrest are the
producers,
official owners of the show, and they're the ones that actually handpicked the band. So out of the 2,000 plus submissions, we got actually handpicked by those two. So and then Katie, I think, reached out to Mark, I think it was, and made the announcement, and it just scaled from there.
That's got to be a pretty good feeling, the fact that you make the submission, and then out of all these other bands that have submitted, their packages or whatever to get on the show, you guys were one of the bands that they picked. That's got to be a pretty good feeling.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Again, I came in right at the right time, so
yeah.
I'm happy to be in the spot, no doubt. But me talking to Mark and both Mikes, those guys couldn't be happier than ever. I mean, those guys have been working so hard at this band. Ozzmania has been, like I said, their baby, and it came to light for them. So definitely on their shoulders, it's a huge thing for them.
And after appearing on the show, I was curious, Vince, because I know a lot of the other acts that have been on the show have later gone in the studio and recorded, tracks by the artists that they're covering, and they put them up on iTunes and sell them. Have you guys done any of that yet, or been offered that opportunity?
Yes. basically, I don't know, I want to say funny, but, you know, they, like I said, Mark came up to me in the band, and he's like, so do you want to do it? After I, you know, thought about it and took the challenge and said, yes, I'm in Ozzmania. Okay, he goes, okay, well, you got 2 weeks because you're going in the studio to record the world's greatest tribute band.
Wow.
So yeah, 2 weeks after being in the band, I had to learn 13 songs and go lay it down in the studio. So we went into Titan Music, worked with Mike and Tyson over there at Titan Music. Great guys. All the tracks are done. All the vocals are done. They're mixing it right now. I think it's going to be on volume 8. The next one that's coming out right now.
Oh, that'd be cool. And the cool thing I think that a lot of people don't realize about these recordings that the bands do is I was told that actually part of the reason that they have you guys record these tunes is the goal is to get them like into TV shows and even movie soundtracks, because it apparently is a lot cheaper, like if they use your tracks to put in a movie than if they actually have to pay, you know, Ozzy Osbourne a licensing fee to use one of his original songs.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm not sure exactly on that aspect of, you know, I think from my take on it, you know, they basically are doing it because, you know, it's another selling point for the band.
Yeah.
Access TV is, you know, a big part of it, and the whole iTunes things is a big part of it. So I think you're right. It's all in art. Now, I don't know about whole being cheaper to be in something else. I mean, I've only seen one incident based from my experience. You know, the
musician, yeah.
Video game of a tribute band actually singing on the video game of a certain video game, but that was about it.
Wow. That's totally cool.
That'd be good, though. I mean, yeah, they can hire us a hell of a lot cheaper than realizing.
Yeah. And so I was curious, do you have a favorite, I mean, this might be another hard question, but you do have a favorite Ozzy album that you really get off on listening to, or a favorite tune to perform?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been, you know, I mean, Diary of a Madman's always been good. Blizzard of Oz, obviously, probably one of my favorites. You know, I love No More Tears. I mean, there's not too much Ozzy that I don't like. But yeah, I mean, any one of the first albums has been pretty much the setting, you know, paved the way for some of the music that's out today. So yeah, I love it. Yeah,
and you know, I was curious, being that you're originally a guitar player, Vince. You know, it's kind of interesting because, you know, who isn't a Randy Rhoads fan? But, you know, it's kind of interesting when you think about the fact that you know, the guy died really relatively young, and really he just got like 2 albums to his name. That with that being said, are you surprised in that little bit of time the impact that guy was able to make, you know, on the world?
Oh yeah, way ahead of his time.
Yeah.
I mean, what a great player. I mean, this stuff that he came up with at that time it was amazing. You know, I can't see why he wouldn't be nowhere bigger than Eddie Van Halen or something like that. He was going to be an innovator, no doubt. And it's a shame that, you know, went way too fast, because he would have brought out a lot of talent out of that guitar.
Yeah, and, you know, what a lot of people fail to realize is, like, they're saying, you know, the reason those first 2 Ozzy albums are so good is, I guess, you know, he did a lot of his songwriting, he helped Ozzy to write a lot of his tunes, but, you know, I've heard people say that, you know, Ozzy is smart in the sense that he surrounds himself with very talented, you know, writers and musicians, and a lot of other musicians, you know, a lot of times end up writing a lot of tunes, and, you know, Ozzy, of course, because it's his band, you know, he puts his name, you know, as one of the songwriters, but I've heard the same thing, you know, about Randy and Zach. They really help with a lot of writing of the tunes, you know.
Yeah, if you can surround yourself with multiple good writers, you know, a lot of the bands out there, they have a single writer.
Yeah.
And it's one guy. And that guy tries to take on the whole load for the band. But if you can get 2, 3, the whole band writing and contributing, and you guys are clicking, that's the way to go.
And let me ask you, Vince, now, being that you're originally a guitar player, I was curious, how old were you when you first started playing, and did you take lessons, or did you kind of teach yourself as you went? Wow, wow.
After seeing Kiss in concert. Basically, I was 9 years old when I saw Kiss.
Yeah.
Threw me into the rock and roll lifestyle world. My grandfather bought me a guitar when I was 10. I took lessons for a year.
Yeah.
And out of that year, I came out learning row, row, row your boat.
Wow, how interesting.
That's when I pretty much just quit and said, I'm not taking lessons no more, and I pretty much trained myself from there.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Learned myself, and it's definitely a lot harder than today's learning because of all the tablature and all that stuff that's out there. I didn't have that out there, so I was learning from, the cassette or from the album itself. So it was definitely more difficult. But yeah, it was roughly around 10. I played for a few years, and being that I was so young, I wasn't able to stick with it because other things going on in my life, and then I came back to it years later and went full bore on it.
Wow, and do you remember what was the first song you ever learned to play on the guitar?
The first song I learned to play on the guitar was probably, like I said, it was Roll, Roll, Roll Your Boat.
Okay.
And then after that, I'm pretty sure it was Breaking the Law from Judas Priest.
Wow, how cool is that?
And then Stairway to Heaven.
And then, do you have any? Do you remember how old you were when you wrote your first original riff or song?
The first original riff was probably written. Oh man, it had been 16. I think it was. That was probably my first stab at writing my own stuff. And then it progressed as the other original bands that got in. I did several original projects at that point, so I had quite a few under my belt at that time.
Wow, that's cool. Now, being that you started at a relatively young age, as far as learning to play the guitar, I was curious. In all your years of playing, does it surprise you now that like when you start doing the tribute thing, that you can be so successful doing that? Whereas if you were still doing your own original thing, you might be, it might take you 6 years to have your first, hit song, or you might be struggling the rest of your life. Whereas, you're doing the Ozzmania thing and the Alice in Chains thing, and you're getting gigs regularly, and you've been on this national TV show. I mean, things seem to be going really great for you. I mean, when you first started in the tribute scene, were you amazed at the success you could see in the tribute world?
Well, yeah. I mean, my first success was, basically it was Dirt in Chicago. So that's where the Alice in Chains tribute band was formed. And when tribute bands back then, there wasn't a whole lot of them. So there was very hungry for the tribute bands there. So we were making a good living just on that alone. So I was very surprised at that time. Now coming over to LA in 2003. I brought Dirt back over here in 2000. I think it started back up in 2008, 2009, and then progressing to Ozzmania. Yeah, I mean, it's just so huge right now. I'm not surprised at all because I saw it back in the late 90s when it was kicking in back in the Midwest.
And when if
it was kicked in the Midwest in the late 90s, it was already started here in LA. So yeah.
I mean, the greatest story I can give you is probably the longest running tribute out here has got to be, the Atomic Punks, which is classic Van Halen tribute, and the original singer Ralph Senez, he for a while left Atomic Punks to go do LA Guns with Tracy Guns, and he ended up leaving LA Guns to go back to the Punks because he was making so much more money doing the David Lee Roth thing than being in LA Guns. Which, if you think about that for a minute, it kind of trips you out, but that just goes to show you how successful you can be doing the tribute thing if you get the right group of people together. And Ralph is now singing for Steel Panther. So again, look what he's doing now.
Yeah, he made definitely a good choice, no doubt about it. And I probably would have did the same thing he did. So yeah, I mean, it's great what they did. I saw them when they were in middle school.
Yeah.
And
Well, you know, actually, the interesting thing about Led Zeppelin, I've actually had a chance to interview the singer Swan, and he was telling me actually a cool story about their band was that the Celebration Day DVD that came out, you know, about a year ago, that Robert Plant and Jimmy Page actually invited him and his band to that show when it was being filmed in London. They were actually backstage that day when the show was being filmed, and he said, "Man, you know, how cool is that?" And I mean, just think about that for a minute, you know.
Yeah, I mean, those guys. I mean, just a class of their own. I mean, Led Zeppelin is just a great band, and you know, they got the guitar player, how that whole thing unfolded, how he came over from, I think it was Japan. It was a great story. Yeah, I mean, I wish we had the same success story because we're doing the show, TV show, and we found out that at the Roxy, the real Ozzy is there.
Wow.
He's there at 12 o'clock at the Roxy.
Wow.
And we didn't find out till later, after he was gone. That would have been a great thing for us. I mean, to see if, you know, hey, you guys in the Will Gage Tribute Band, Ozzy, come on over and check it out. See what you think, you know, that thing. That would have been a great success story for us. But yeah, for Led Zeppelin, that is probably the ultimate feeling. I don't know what better, you know, from the real guys that you're portraying to come down and be like, you know, this is great stuff, you know.
Yeah, and then you know, another interesting story I was told once was I interviewed this guitar player named Bart Walsh, and he actually again was the original guitar player from Atomic Punks, and actually I guess David Lee Roth came down and caught a couple of shows when he was with the band, and Dave asked him to come join his solo band at the time, and he actually toured as a part of Dave Lee Roth's solo band for a couple of years, and now he's in Nashville, and he's working for Gibson or some, you know, major guitar company. So you know, it just never ceases to amaze me that the success you could find just in the tribute scene, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's happened to quite a few people. What, Judas Priest singer Ripper Owens was
yeah.
Priest tribute band, and he ended up being in Judas Priest.
And then
the guy from the Journey, the Journey band right now.
Yeah.
That's their current running show. He was from the Philippines, I think it was, and he was in the Journey tribute band. And
yeah.
It could happen, you know.
yeah. You never know. So you know, Ozzmania too. Like you said, the band's been around itself for like at least, you know, 7 or 8 years, and so you know they're one of the bands that's starting to, you know, get a name for themselves. So I think it's great that you finally you know got in this band. And as far as Dirt, you guys regularly gigging. I mean, does it ever get in the way, the two bands of does it ever get invade with your schedule for either band?
Well, not at this point, because, you know, since I got in the band and the whole TV show thing was coming to real life, I had to put Dirt on hold because I had to give the guys my 100% dedication to being on the TV show, making sure that, you know, it could be the best. I couldn't do both.
Yeah.
To make this TV show, there was just a lot of work to do, being in the studio. So Dirt was pushed to the side for right now, and still is, because we're coming off the TV show, and, you know, we're trying to get things lined up. And, you know, 2015, Dirt will be back, and we'll see what happens with that. You know, I miss playing in Dirt, there's no doubt about it, but I love playing in Ozzmania. I mean, Ozzmania, what a great bunch of guys, and the band is just sounding awesome right now.
And let me ask you, as far as being in Ozzmania, do you kind of enjoy, you know, like you joke around that, hey, I'm a new guy and that, and you know, whereas when you're in Dirt, you kind of got to make a lot more of a decisions, and a lot more of a pressure's on you, where, you know, Ozzmania, you know, all your responsibility is really to just, you know, show up to the gig and do your best.
I definitely tease Mark and Mike. I'm glad I'm not in your shoes. You know, I mean, they get swarmed. There's no doubt about it. I'm relieved. You know, playing in Dirt. You know, all eyes on you, all eyes on the singer.
Yeah.
That's how it is. You know, it's always it's always, you can't get out of it. Can't get out of the spotlight at any time.
Yeah.
So in this band, I am out of the spotlight. You know, basically, those guys are filtering all. I'm having a blast up there. You know, I get to sit back like Geezer Butler did and hang out and play bass.
Wow, how cool is that? Well, Vince, it's really been a pleasure. talking to you. Is there anything else you'd like to say before I let you go? I just once again want to thank you for taking time to do this. Can't thank you enough.
No, thank you, and for what you're doing with the tribute bands, totally appreciate it. I think it's the coolest thing. I'm happy that, to do this with you, and, Ozzmania, we're just, 2015 is going to be really strong for these guys, and we're ready to take the world by storm.
Yeah, well, like I said, we'll have to do this again maybe down the line, because I really enjoyed, talking to you. And the other thing is, about a year ago, I interviewed both Mark and the singer Michael, and so we're kind of revamping our site. And so probably the plan is right now, when about a week or so when I post this interview up on our site, I'm going to try to get the interview I did with the other two guys, and then people can listen to all three interviews. So keep that in mind. Like I said, just shoot me your email later when you get a chance, and I'll send you a copy of this interview we just did. It's really been great talking to you, Vince. So do me a favor and keep in touch and take care of yourself.
Will do. Thank you, Jason.
Okay. Okay. Bye bye.